Good evening. My name is Bob, and I'm the owner of the collection of these motorcycles. Today I'm going to show you a 1974 YZ80. Before I do, I usually like to take a walk around my showroom and show some of the other samples of bikes that I collect. Just a brief history of my background. I'm a private collector. I don't hire people to do anything for me. I was a mechanic for just about every major and minor motorcycle manufacturer back in the early 70s. And I went to college to be a machinist and welder, so I became very familiar with metallurgy and all the different avenues of motorcycles, whether it's rebuilding motors or rebuilding the whole frame units, or frame straightening, crank rebuilding. I don't know that there was much that I did not do when it came to motorcycles, so I had a pretty broad range of experience with bikes. And as I've gotten older, I decided that I wanted to start collecting bikes that meant something to me when I was young. So I collect bikes, and sometimes I keep them for a long time, and other times I don't have much interest past a few months of ownership. But most of the time I collect bikes that have particular interest to me. And a lot of these dirt bikes I grew up with. I'd have given my eye teeth for any one of these bikes when I was young. And so a lot of the interest I have in bikes came from very early on, and working on so many different bikes from different manufacturers. Therein lies a lot of the British stuff. That's what I originally grew up with, was British bikes. And I particularly loved the flat trackers, because flat track racing was really big during the time of the 60s, which was my era. Normally the bikes that I collect are within the era that I live. 50s was not real popular to me, though I do have a lot of 50s motorcycles, normally Italian bikes, because I really love what they look like. I tend to buy things just because of a look. I don't typically ride most of these bikes, so every bike I have ridden, my interest is just looking at them. A lot of bikes just to look at, but it's kind of like Christmas to me when I come in here and look at my showroom and see all the different bikes, and I happen to appreciate all the artwork that goes along with it, all the vintage stuff. Some bikes like this one I bought just because I loved it. It looked like a piece of jewelry to me. And other bikes, pretty eclectic. I do have a bicycle back there, 1957 Schwinn Phantom. Why I took that, I couldn't tell you. I just thought it was a cool bike. So on to the bike that I'm going to be showing and putting on Bring a Trailer today. Actually, before I do, one last room. Bikes that I had when I was a kid, TM400, first motocross bike that I had. Loved it then, still enjoy looking at it. I don't know that I'd want to ride much of it. And okay, enough about that. Pretty nicely restored 1974 YZ80, first year model. Not much to say about this bike. It's in pretty exceptional condition. Paint job is beautiful. It's, I'd say, flawless. There's certainly no scratches, nicks, or dents anywhere. I did not restore this bike. It came the way it is. Don't tend to want to do much of that anymore. I'm 71 years old, and my hands, my tendons and ligaments don't like doing a lot of this work. So let's do a quick start run on this. and it's smoke up my showroom. So for those of you who are not necessarily familiar with two-strokes and the way they work, even though some of you may ride them, two-strokes work off at crank pressure, both vacuum and pressure. So crank seals are one of the culprits for bikes that don't run very well. This one, if crank seals are bad, it won't idle down. And if it revs up high, it won't idle down because usually they have an air leak, and oftentimes it comes from the left-hand side just behind the flywheel. If it has a right-hand side crank seal that leaks, it'll suck gearbox oil. So this bike is clearly, the motor was rebuilt and it runs excellent. I've ridden it once just down in front of my showroom here, but that's about it. So you're bidding on a 1974 first year model Yamaha YZ80. And good luck with your bidding.